Hello YouTube and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. I'm Mike Braedley and we are pretty much exactly where we left off. One thing to note is I did do an update of one of the mods I have installed, the Interstellar mod. A new version came out recently, and so I've installed that or updated that for this episode. Not that it's really affecting anything, because I'm not using any of those parts in this episode, or in this ship. And I've also installed Kerbal Alarm Clock, because I'm feeling it's going to be necessary in this episode. And the third is a one that you probably will never see me use on screen, which is the RCS balancer. Basically gives out a display of where your RCS thrust is going to be once you're in orbit, basically. It's useful, and I had it installed on Tile Robust, but I just failed to download it for this series. But it's installed now, and I will make use of it, just probably not on camera. Anyways, I'm going to turn it over to post-commentary Mike, because this would otherwise be a very long and very tedious episode of me trying to get these probes in orbit of their respective moons. So anyways, I'm going to start doing that, and yeah, here's post-commentary Mike. So, the first order of business is to get something of an encounter with at least one of the moons. In hindsight, I actually probably should have waited for an encounter with Tylo. It would have saved me a whole lot of fuel. Instead, I do a burn here and get a nice encounter with Lathe pretty easily. Lathe actually completes at least one orbit, maybe two, before that encounter. But yeah, that's the first step in this journey, is to basically set everything else up so that they can easily encounter the other moons. And what this actually does is allow me to kick everything out into very highly elliptical orbits. If I raise my periaps from a very high orbit, then it's going to cost me a whole lot less fuel. So the first order of business is to lower the periaps of these probes, and that's going to change this from a escape trajectory to an actual elliptical orbit. And there we go, I left the throttle up when I staged, and so when I activated the engine, hit that transfer stage, which had just run out of fuel. So one of these probes is going to end up in orbit of Lathe, and the rest are going to be kicked out into very highly elliptical orbits. Luckily, as you can see there, most of the periaps is going to be down near Lathe, so not going to worry about interfacing with Jool's atmosphere. But I'll also be able to bring those periapses up to the other moons. I do encounter some problems later on, but we'll talk about that when that happens. Right now, it's just setting up these periaps with Lathe so that I get the proper kick into an orbit around Jool instead of around the Sun. And also so that they're all basically just a little bit different, so that when they reach apoaps at slightly different times. You can see in the top left that I have Kerbal Alarm Clock right now set up with the Sphere of Influence changes, but once that's all done, I will basically be setting that up to be the apoapsis of the Jool-centric orbit. So here we go, changing into our Jool-centric orbit, and so they all switch over, all except for that transfer stage, which you can see right there. He's going to become sun-centric, heliocentric. Anyways, just going through, renaming them to something that is slightly different for each of them. Yeah, just setting up the apoapsis alarm. So first things first is Lathe on that list, so that I can pull his periapsis out of the atmosphere. And then, yeah, just going about the other guys. So that's all 6 set. Here we go, raising our periaps. Actually lowering it a bit by mistake first. And then we start doing a bunch of science. So I did a whole lot of science in this episode just to basically pass the time. The plan was always to do the bulk of the science off screen, which is what I did. You'll see the net result of that later. But anyways, yeah, just have to do several orbits to keep the energy high, because transmitting that gravity scan takes a whole lot of electricity. And I think that's probably it there that was transmitting. Yep, so not enough electricity, that's a common theme for all this science. There we go. So there's a little bit more of this. And we're back to our other 5 probes. So, basically I do these in order of their distance out from Jool. So this one's going to be encountering Tylo. So first things first, set our set the plane of the orbit, get the right inclination, and while we're doing that we can also adjust the periapsis so that we're at the right height for Tylo. And this is going to take basically 2 orbits to encounter. It's a similar thing for our Val. Oh no, I've got that backwards. Sorry, that first one was to Val, this one's to Tylo. Yeah, so again, inclination change and raise our periaps. All quite easy, doesn't take a whole lot of fuel. And next we have Bop. Now, this one's a little tricky. I actually did this completely wrong. I should have been burning the other normal direction. And then when I do burn this way, I overcook it by a whole lot. I really want to be 90 degrees away from Bop's orbit. Instead, I go like 110 degrees or something like that. And it's a similar thing for this. I don't do it quite as bad, but yeah, it's still overkill. Anyways, I get those 2 guys lined up, and now it's time for our Jool, our probe that's going to be lost to Jool's atmosphere. So yeah, just killing his periapsis down to something like 118 kilometers. And I set another maneuver node so that it's easy to basically fine-tune that. And here in Val's orbit, I'm just setting up basically a quick burn to get our encounter. It doesn't take a whole lot. Just changing a little bit very close can really change how long it takes to go around, which can really change how quickly you get a encounter. So yeah, again, same thing for Tylo, and we are back with either Bop or it must be the Bop probe. Fixing our inclination, making sure to keep our Jool periaps the same so that we're gonna come close to encountering. And I get somewhat lucky here. I don't think I actually no, I'm not going to actually manage to change my orbit there, but yeah, again, it's just a quick maneuver to get our encounter. And away we go to our Jool probe to fix our periaps. And I set that timeout just long enough to make sure that nothing bad goes wrong, basically. And so, store away the solar panels, and it's time to do as much science as I can once I hit the atmosphere, which is right there. And these probes are not very nice in the atmosphere. It's something you'll see in Lathe, or later in next episode in Lathe. Yes, I've actually already recorded it before even recording this post-commentary. Oh, and actually I wasn't deep enough. I didn't realize that. Yeah, so recollecting our solar energy, and we make one more pass, basically. again, storing the solar panels so that they don't break off, although a little prematurely. And yeah, these probes always want to go in head first. Not exactly sure why, but them's the breaks. So yeah, try to get as much valuable science as I can. Basically throwing away anything that is next to worthless. And we're basically out of electricity, so I try to finagle my way into a position that will get some sunshine. It's not really working, so I try extending the solar panels. Yeah, that doesn't work. They just shatter and blow off. But there we go, I finally get an orientation that allows me to get some light on the solar panels. But it's not really enough. Yeah, not going to do any more science with this probe. It's doomed to be crushed. And what's that black under there? That's weird. That's really weird. But okay, that just must be the surface of Jool, because yeah, my altimeter is coming down. And now it starts going back up, so I'm below the surface. And what the hell is that down there? That's interesting. But kablooey. So yeah, that's the end of that probe. I still think I got some useful science out of it, but it's time to go back to another probe. And so here we are approaching Val. I think this is probably the next one. But yeah, we'll are we going to do some science out here? Oh no, this is yeah, so after that, or after crashing into Jool, I basically lose control of my spacecraft. I can't rotate it at all. It basically takes me exiting not only out of here, but also out of the save entirely and reloading the save, basically. Just basically starting up the save profile again. But I did do some minor make some changes with my engine there, which required some readjustments. And yeah, it says a long burn, but then it turns out to be not so long a burn. And we're in orbit. And time to do some quick science while we wait for the next encounter 40 days out. Recharge our batteries, do some more science. Recharge our batteries. No, actually we just don't bother and switch to a new target. 14, almost 15 days out. And he also had the problem where he wouldn't react. But again, just reloading the save by exiting almost entirely out of the game, out to the main menu, and then back. Solved that. And so, here is one place where I make a major mistake. I really shouldn't be lowering my orbit into something circular. I should leave it highly elliptical. And the primary reason for that is that there's two areas of space, high above a body and near a body, that gives two different sets of science. And with a circular orbit like this, I'm only getting one. So, you can see I only have maybe a third of the fuel left. By the time I finish doing all the science around Tylo and all the orbital changes, I end up with basically nothing. And you'll see the result of that in the next episode. So, we have two probes left to get into their respective moon orbits. And so this one is just, I think, the one for Paul. And here I actually am fortunate enough that I can do a near transfer correction, but not before we get our encounter with... Oh wait, no, maybe this is Paul. So, no, that is Bob. Never mind. Yep, so we get this guy into orbit. He's going to be pretty easy. Almost a minute burn, but again, really no big problem. Orient my solar panels to pick up the maximum amount of energy energy from the sun, and then start doing some science. Again, not all the science, but enough to pass a little bit of time. And we're back with our last probe, just about ready to enter orbit with it. Again, some science in the area high above Jool. Always useful. I think I pretty much max this out, or come close. Even if I don't, I can still send I'll probably still send another mission, so that I can basically use the instruments that I haven't unlocked yet, around the Joolian system, get even more science. But yeah, I get a whole lot of science in this one mission, even if it is spread over 3 episodes. It's kind of basically it's a little excessive. Anyways, we're coming up on our last correction burn, and setting up our encounter so that it's nice and close, spending very little fuel because we're making those burns so far out. And our last maneuver node. It says I need a fairly long burn, but I really don't. It's only, yeah, 40 seconds or something like that. So guys, that's all 5 probes in orbit. I've even renamed them all so that they correspond to the moon that they're orbiting. Well, all but one apparently. I didn't rename Bob. But yeah, so they're all there. We'll go back and see what science we have so far, remembering that I started out this episode at 541. And now we have well over 3,000, so almost 3,000 science so far, and I'm not even done milking all the moons for science. But that is going to end it for this episode. Next episode I will have some of that science, the science melt and done off camera, and then we'll attempt to land some of those probes on their planetary bodies, or on the moons, and get even more science from that. Tylo's going to be tricky. I'm not sure if that'll happen. Hopefully Lathe will happen, because we've got an atmosphere to help us down, but remember, I didn't put parachutes on those probes. So yeah, we'll get that done next episode, and remember, if you like this, or want to see that, you should subscribe to the channel, and if you like this episode, please leave a like. It really does help me out, expand my channel and my viewers. In any case, I'm Mike Braedley, this has been Kerbal Space Program. I'll see you next time.